What's up? Welcome to Get On It Racing. Today, we're going to be putting a whole front suspension kit on my GMC Sonoma. It's a 1993. I'm sure some of you know that. We got Pops over here to help me out, Mr. Nick. So we're going to get started. I already went ahead and pulled the wheels off. We just actually put these Cyclone wheels on it, and they're freaking awesome. I'll show y'all later whenever we put them back on. But went ahead and pulled the brake calipers off. It's just these two little Allen head bolts. So we're gonna go ahead and get started tonight. We'll probably pull the spindle, or at least until Mom gets home with food, and then we'll stop probably. We got a long day ahead of us tomorrow. Got a buddy coming over, so we'll have him and Pops. Anyways, let's get to tearing this sumbitch down. Great car. Okay. So I went ahead and pulled all the parts out of the box. We pulled everything out. Figured we'd get a grasp on what we have, so we know what we have to take off. We've got the springs and the shocks there. Our lowers. We've got our hardware, and then the bump steer kit that this comes with. The uppers, and then the sway bar end links are actually in this box. This is the sway bar end links, and then, like I said, the sway bar is in my room still. It's just gonna get in the way. So we're gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing apart, like I said earlier. And yeah, oh, look at that. Mother has arrived. Miss Get On It Racing. Check that out. Anyways, I guess we'll go eat, and then looks like we're gonna finish the rest of this tomorrow morning. We're gonna start and just kind of start tearing it apart, going from there. So, good morning. We got our parts out. The Holy Grail. Now we're gonna take it all apart. We've got, oh, they're hiding. Pops is here again this morning, and then Bryson with his Bigfoot Tacoma. He needs smaller tires, but he doesn't agree with me. Anyways, we're gonna take it all apart, and yeah. Woo!
You take a turn a little too fast.
Righty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta, you know. So we got our self-made jack stands. We're gonna set them on here. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do that. But we got the tie rods off. We're gonna get the other sides out. And then Pops is gonna go run and get some new inner tie rods. Because we got the new ones here, we might as well replace the inner ones because they only come with outer ones. Baller. And then we also got the sway bar. The big piece of metal. That super heavy thing last time. This is not heavy, but the other one is. We got that off. Now we're probably gonna go ahead and pull the spindle off of both sides. That's gonna be fun. Yeah.
I like the flavor of the never sees on my hands.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got this whole side apart. I'm gonna try and do a bit more comprehensive when we put it together, but I'll do a rundown for you of how to take all this stuff off if you haven't before. So pretty much there's one bolt on the spindle to get the tie rod off. You knock the little joint out there, and then we loosened both of the nuts on the upper and lower control arm. We took the shock out completely first. Take the shock out first, completely. Then what you want to do is you want to raise with the jack the spring. You want to compress it. It should knock, you know, the first upper control arm loose, and then you let it down, and it should get the bottom one. Right? Is that how you do it?
Something like that.
Something like that. He did it. We did it. He just told me.
You want the jack to hold your spring pressure. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That
So
way it doesn't come jumping out at you.
yeah, because you don't want a spring flying at Mock Jesus towards you, or in this case, Vivian, our lovely F-body. So, like I said, I'm gonna do a bit more comprehensive on the other side when we pull that apart, but I just wanted to get this side without the camera first, and then we'll kind of walk you through the second side. And then when we put everything together, we have Bryson over here assembling our Legos, like the coilovers. That's kind of what they are. He got them all together. He's gonna have never sees on his hands for the next 3 years. He gave up on the gloves. So
Not worth it.
they weren't working.
Not worth it.
So we're gonna go eat lunch and we'll be back and we're gonna take that side apart and then we're gonna start putting it all together. Sweet. So we're back from lunch. I'll show you guys how we took this shock off. We got some little vice grips and held the flat part. There's a double nut. There's one, the other one walked off. He wanted to go somewhere. But we went ahead and loosened both of those. And now we got to loosen the 2 bottom bolts for the shock. Put on a little ugga-dugga. And we'll get this shock out. Got the shock out. Now, we went ahead and we're gonna put our jack underneath the lower control arm. We'll jack it up. Just take off a little bit of weight. Then we're gonna go ahead and loosen this castle nut right there on the spindle. And this upper control arm should become loose. And then we're gonna do the same on the bottom. We're gonna leave this nut on and pull the bottom castle nut off to where it's, you know, loose. And then we're gonna let the jack down and it should make both of our control arms pop out. And if not, that's what the hammer's for. We got the spindle out. We took both of those nuts loose after we had jacked it up. Then we let it down. This had to be hit with a hammer, then it popped loose. Same thing for that. Loosening that nut, let it down, it popped loose by itself, and then we just kind of kicked it down, took the spring out. And we didn't have to worry about it killing us because they're lowering springs, but still be careful because danger. Right? Right. Okay. Now we're gonna get this other control arm off. Well, both of these actually. And then we'll be back. That upper control arm is off now. The 2 bolts that hold it in right here. Just put a wrench on the back. Impact on the front. Ugga-dugga. Zip those out. Get your shims removed. Some of you may have more. Some of you may have less. I used to have a lot of them. And then I didn't. Now we're gonna get the lower one out. Baller. Okay. So we got the other control arm out. Took the bolt here and the bolt there out. Got them out, and then you give the control arm the good old disco shuffle, and it drops right out. And now we're gonna put everything back together. But I think we're gonna run to the store first and get our tie rods, because those don't look too healthy. Because they're probably 30 years old and have never been changed. So we're gonna fix that today. Yeah. After a lot of reading and fighting and figuring out that we are missing some hardware, we got both sets in with a hammer, a bull dick is what my dad calls it. That's what he calls it. I don't know why, but
Construction hand.
that thing. So we got them in. They look red and good. Now we got to tighten them all down after we get everything in, because we still want them to be able to move. But yeah, just pretty much hit with a dead blow. Don't use an actual metal hammer, because we want to keep them shiny, because they're going to get shiny unshiny very quickly, because I hit everything and I probably will continue to hit everything. It's almost like this thing is too low, but it's also like I don't really care.
Coilover time.
But now we're gonna put the coilovers in, and then we're gonna max them out, and then we're gonna put it on the ground, and then realize that it's way too low, and then raise it again.
Oh, you're about to get a messed up coilover.
Yeah. So here's the other side. We got both sides in. We're gonna go ahead and put the shock or the coils in, and then I'll be back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the video where this job becomes more than just a simple bolt-on kit. Let me show you. So we've got our coilovers here, right? Well, when you go to slide them in the hole here to go up, you'll notice that the teeth right here are pretty much, the old spring sits in that groove. Well, these teeth are in the way. The front ones more specifically, the back ones are probably going to be able to be bent out. But these front section, that's gonna have to go bye-bye. So we're gonna have to run to the parts store. We're gonna get some tie rods, and then we're probably gonna go to Home Depot or Lowe's, whichever one's closer, to get some cutting wheels, because we ran out a long time ago. So we come back and cut them, and it's the same on this side. I'm not gonna show you, but it's the same on both sides. Same issue. So we're gonna go ahead and deal with the issue by cutting it, because that's what fixes everything. You just cut it. You cut it. So, yeah. And then after we cut it, we'll be able to put those in. And yeah, but before we leave, I will show you a little thing that how to adjust these uppers, because they come fully adjusted in. So what you'll have to do is you got to take this bolt out, and you spin that out or in, depending on what you need to get more or less camber. We put it out as far as they recommend, so we can get the best, because that's about what it was stock with our old factory tubulars. No, they're not factory, but the old Speedway motors right there. So they're about the same, and those were about the same as stock. So we went about as far as we could. Fought the other side, got that in. We adjusted both of them already. Now we're ready for the coils. So we're gonna run to the store, and we'll be right back so we can start cutting.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Oh yeah. Okay. We're back from the store. We got our tie rod ends and some blades, so we can get to cutting. We're gonna go ahead and get to cutting now. I'll show y'all what we're gonna do. I think I already did, but I'll show you again. Anyways, so I went ahead and I already bent these out with a hammer. I might have to bend them more, might have to bend them less, don't know. But now we're probably gonna go ahead and cut along right here. And once it's cut for the most part, we should be able to take some channel locks or something of the sort and wiggle it until it breaks off. But while I'm gonna go ahead and start measuring our tie rods, getting those together, I think he's gonna go ahead and cut. Pops is gonna go ahead and start cutting the passenger side first, and then maybe do the second after. We'll have to get some sort of shield to cover the car, but yeah, let's get started. Well, we got our bump steer kit that we're putting together. They say these studs, the bump steer stud, you gotta have equal length between here and here. It's a 1/4 inch on both sides. I used the little spacers they gave me. Now we're gonna take the other tie rod. I already put one side together, so we're gonna take that tie rod, we'll thread it all the way in, both sides are all the way in, and then we're gonna spin our little big nut, is what I'll call it, coupling, and make sure it's equal length between here and there on this one. And then we can put them on the truck. And we also just got finished done cutting with that, and the shocks do fit now. See, look at that. Fancy, right? Yeah. I'll show you all that in just a second after we finish putting this together. These are left-hand threads, by the way. So go ahead and put it on, and you loosen it. We're going lefty-tighty now. Like that. I know, it's a weird feeling, but we're doing that. And the same thing with this one. When you put that in, left-hand threads. It's real weird. It feels weird. I was confused on that one 4 times.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Okay, tie rods are assembled. That's the driver's side. That's gonna be the passenger side. Those are gonna go on last. We're gonna go ahead and put these shocks in. So I guess I will show you what we did, where we cut. Alrighty. Ain't that pretty? I mean, look at that.
Pretty ugly, but it works.
It gets the job done. So I'm working on getting a another extended cab of this body style this same year, so I can pull the cab and everything off and restore the frame on that one and just slap the body of this one on there. But we don't have the space for that right now. So we went ahead and cut it, did our deal. We hit those. It's the same thing on the other side. And now the shocks fit up flush right there. You can't see it in the bolt hole right there. There it is. So we're gonna put them up. We're gonna bring that up, put the spindle on both sides, and then we'll probably tighten everything up on this section. Then we'll go ahead and put the sway bar in, the tie rod ends, and then we'll be done. Put the tires on. Unfortunately, I can't drive it when this is all said and done because it doesn't have a radiator, because the radiator started leaking. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that. A 5-month-old radiator was leaking. It's brand new. Don't know what happened. It just got a hole. Anyways, we're gonna put the shocks in. Sweet. Hello. It's currently 6:02, and we've got everything on. We've tightened it all. It's all tight. The only thing we don't have on are like the brakes and everything, and the sway bar actually. We didn't put that on yet. But we got our tie rod ends. The shocks still need to be adjusted. But we got all of that on. The torque specs are factory torque specs, if you were wondering. That's what UMI says. All the factory torque specs apply to these. This is aftermarket, the bottom, lower control arms, the tie rod ends. Pretty much all of it is factory, what it came off the line with. So we were torquing everything to the right spec, because I'm a firm believer, and if it's got a spec, use it. It's got one for a reason. So we're gonna go ahead and put this sway bar on. Then we're gonna put the brakes back on. Then we'll put the wheels back on. Then we're gonna set it down, torque the bottom bolts for the lower control arms, and then I'll be able to see where it sits. Like I said, I can't drive it because it's got no radiator, but I can look at it and it'll look cool. So yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. We were kind of gone for a minute, got a little carried away, but that was all easy stuff. I mean, a lot of reading. God, a lot of reading. It was quite annoying. The instructions are not the best, might I say. They are not the best. But we got by. So the lighting's probably pretty crappy right now, but we packed up for the night. I say we packed up. We just kind of set everything right there. We had to pull the shocks back out because we ended up not putting one of the washers on the thrust bearing. We noticed it, thankfully. So we had to fight them getting them off, and then getting them back on. But it's getting late. It's getting dark. Our flashlights are dying. So, like I said, we kind of just put everything up for the night. We're going to go ahead and finish it up tomorrow. We got to tighten the shock mounts down below there. We got to retighten the ball joints on the other side because we ended up taking them loose and then they wouldn't come out because they're that good, I guess. And then we're going to put the brakes on and put the wheels back on and everything tomorrow. Set it down and see what it looks like. We'll let it sit. You know, it's got a couple days to sit, and then I'll adjust ride height when I'm able to drive the truck again. But that's it for day 2. We'll see you in day 3 tomorrow on Christmas Eve. Again, sorry if you can't really see me. I really don't know how the lighting is. It's probably pretty crappy. Okay, well, it's day 3. Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to everybody watching this. Well, it'll probably go up after Christmas, but anyways. Today we're going to go ahead and bolt check everything. We're going to retighten the bottom shock mounts because we loosened them up. Both that one and that one. They're both loose. So we're going to retighten them, bolt check everything else. Put the sway bar in right there. grease everything because we gotta grease all of it. And I even have greasable sway bar fittings. I've never seen those before, but they're kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this thing up. We'll put the brakes on, put the wheels on it, and then we'll let it sit. And then I'll probably come back to it whenever, after it settles, is when I'll set ride height. I'll probably go down as low as I can, or probably till I like it. I have an idea of where I want it, pretty much about the same before we did all this. So finding the ride height that it was at is the hardest part. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and finish this thing up. Well, we are done. For the most part, that is. We're done for the most part. Everything's all tight and torqued. We have our coils adjusted down. We had to go at different bump stops because the other ones wouldn't even fit. I'm just like that low. But we have everything all torqued down, the sway bars in, and it all looks fancy and nice. Got a race truck now. All we gotta do is grease it and then make sure the alignment's good. We kind of adjusted it. I think this tire's towed in a little bit, and then the same thing with this one. I think it's maybe that one's towed out just a tad. The wheel might not even be straight. But also, look at my messed up window. S10 things, right? So gotta finish up. We gotta grease everything like I said. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. It's right here. Pretty much done. Y'all know how to grease fittings. I hope. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna go enjoy our Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. We're gonna torque the wheels down afterwards. Put the center caps back on. This is what the ride height is. It's tucking. It's low. It's real low. The backside's a little bit higher. It's the hot rod rake. But like I said, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go subscribe and hit like. That would really help. It'd be real nice. I appreciate that. So Merry Christmas. Peace.
Yeah.